Rumor has it that HBO will not pick up the rematch between Sergey Kovalev and Eleider Alvarez. Stay tuned. Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. Wont. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, I'm back with the Ego Rumor Mill, aka Rumor has it that HBO has declined to pick up the rematch between Sergey Kovalev and Eleider Alvarez, right? Nothing's been set in stone, nothing's been confirmed, but I did a video about this. Sergey Kovalev's manager, Igis Klimas, said that Sergey Kovalev wants to or opts to fulfill the rematch clause by facing Eleider Alvarez. I said, in my opinion, I don't know if he should do that. Very dangerous fight. He was knocked down 3 times, I believe, in the fight and eventually stopped. And if he loses again, then it's going to be an even harder road to climb back, as opposed to if he takes some tune-ups or whatnot after a bad loss like that. Come back correct, see if you can work out the issues, stop drinking or whatever to cause better stamina, you know, and then fight Eleider Alvarez in a rematch, because at this point you've already lost. People seen you get stopped. You're no longer a champion. He took your belt. So it doesn't matter, you know. It'd be one thing if it was a controversial, like when Ward beat Kovalev and some people said it wasn't clean, or when Mayweather-Castillo, Mayweather-Maidana, and some people said it was a draw or the other guy won. Then I can understand immediate rematches in those, because you want to clear up controversy. Canelo versus Triple G, clear up the air, you know, get some closure to the fans. But Sergey Kovalev already lost, so instead of jumping right away, I mean, I'm not opposed to immediate rematches, but in this case, I think it'll be very damaging if Kovalev loses again. But again, back to the rumor, they're saying HBO is not going to pick up this fight, which I don't know what's up with HBO boxing. I don't know if they're really vested in boxing, and it's a shame, because I think they do a great job video production wise, not really on the commentary side. Roy Jones is great as a commentator, but some of the other guys, their opinions are, you know, usually skewed and very biased and stuff like that. But ultimately, HBO has been one of the staples for boxing fans, and to see them kind of go out of the game and get their ass kicked by Showtime right now, and for the last year, 2 years, 3 years or whatever, it's just, it's a bad sight. Usually with competition, you want to see when one guy steps it up or one company steps it up, you want to see them do what competition's supposed to do, get competitive. But we haven't really seen that from HBO. And the thing that I don't like is HBO seems very, very biased and also very turncoat, meaning they'll promise and pump up and put out certain propagandas and expect boxing fans to swallow it whole and accept what they're telling them. And then as soon as it doesn't go their way, and as soon as what they said doesn't come, it's not proven true, then it's like they turn their back on you, you know? And I don't like that. I feel like if you're going to be a fan and force feed the public, then you got to live and die by the sword. You know, you got to ride that one out, ride that wave out. For example, they told you that Chocolatito is #1 pound for pound, and he's the successor to Floyd Mayweather. Then he loses controversially to Sor Rungvisai, and then they said, oh, he shouldn't have lost that fight. He's the better fighter. And then he has an immediate rematch, and he gets stopped by Sor Rungvisai, putting an end to that argument. You know, he lost again, and this time he lost worse, and he lost by stoppage. And then they turned their back on Rungvisai. Jim Lampley of HBO did interviews after the Rungvisai, and they're like, can Chocolatito come back from this? And he's like, no, he's he can't return. He can't come back. I mean, he could come back and fight, but he'll never get to the mountaintop that he once was. Like, wow. So y'all force-fed the public into saying that Chocolatito is pound for pound material. And then as soon as he loses by stoppage, you bail out on him, you know? Or they say Triple G is this and that. And then he has a draw and now you don't hear it as much. Or with this situation with Kovalev, you know, kind of act like Kovalev was robbed in the Andre Ward fights and he's this menace and he's crusher. And then he loses to a PBC fighter, or Al Heyman signed Eleider Alvarez. And now because the crusher has been found out and people see his weakness and see that if you can take it to the deep rounds, his stamina might not be the greatest. If you can follow a game plan and deal with his power early, then you might be able to get him in the second half. And post Andre Ward, he looks mentally shot and he doesn't look like the same fighter. Now HBO don't want to pick up his next fight. Why not pick out the Eleider Alvarez? That should be a good rematch, right? You know, the first one had good action. Some people said Kovalev was winning. Alvarez turned it around. If you thought that Kovalev was winning in the front half, you know, by getting a stoppage and 3 knockdowns. So why doesn't HBO want to support that? And the rumor and the source that I'm hearing, they're saying that they're going to pass on the Kovalev-Eleider Alvarez, which opens it up to Showtime or DAZN or somebody else to pick it up, you know? And it's just sad because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. I get that, but that's why I strongly suggest, especially in a crooked, grimy game like boxing, you better get in and get out and make decisions that benefit you, your family, and your team. Because these companies, that's the decision-making process that they follow. Because I look at it like this. If HBO doesn't pick up Kovalev-Eleider Alvarez, it's because Kovalev just got stopped by Alvarez. Alvarez is not their fighter. Eleider Alvarez is a Heyman fighter. So they don't want to invest the money. This is how I perceive it. If they don't want to invest the money airing the rematch, and then there's a strong chance that Kovalev could lose again or he could lose worse, and then they just bought up airtime or whatever to air this fight for someone that they can't continue to build. Because if Kovalev loses again to Eleider Alvarez, it's going to be hard to sell him as the crusher and this menacing force. It's already kind of hard to sell it right now, you know, because he was kind of the bully type of fighter, good boxer and more of a bully. So when he was knocking out or nearly knocking out Bernard Hopkins or knocking out Blake Caparella, guys like that, Ishmael Salak, you could keep putting it out there like, oh man, this guy is crazy. But then after Andre Ward did what he did with him, and then now Eleider Alvarez, now you don't want to take the gamble because you know that if he loses again, then you can't really do as much with him. And Eleider Alvarez is going to go back to his network. So now HBO don't want to, you know, they want to penny pinch and they don't want to put out the money for the fight. So HBO Boxing, I don't know what's gotten into them, but if this rumor is true, which we'll find out if the rematch is made, if it's not on HBO or if it is on HBO and goes to ESPN Plus, Showtime, DAZN, then that'll be an indication of this rumor being true or false. But to me, I heard it from a good source, and it sounds like it's true. And from a business perspective, I could understand why, you know, because they don't want to put out money for somebody who might not be the same, and the victor of the fight might not be on your network going forward. So you're like, I don't know, we don't even care. You already lost. We can't do nothing with that, you know, because they want to continue. They want the fighters that they can continue hyping up or whatever. And if Kovalev loses, it's going to be an uphill battle to really get people to believe he's what he was when he was beating guys like B-Hop. So it's just sad because, like I said, this is what they do. They force feed. This is like classic boxing. You know, that's why Al Heyman, in my opinion, kind of a godsend, because even though he's not a promoter, he seems to really care about the well-being of his fighters. That's why you have guys like Gervonta Tank Davis and Errol Spence and other people who publicly say, man, thanks Al Heyman. He's a blessing. Or I'm loyal to Al Heyman and Showtime because he at least acts like he gives a damn about his fighters. Boxing, for the longest, this is how it's operated. You're in all these fight of the years and all this, And then when you start losing and keep losing, you're no longer valuable. You're no longer as marketable to them. And then they cut their ties with you. You know, oh, damn, you just got knocked the fuck out. All right, we don't need you back on the network. And it's crazy in Kovalev's situation because he was one of the people that they highly touted and praised. And then he, 3 losses, 2 to Ward, 1 to Eleider Alvarez, really good fighters. Ward's a great fighter. And now all of a sudden they don't want to pick up his next bout. Meanwhile, Kathy Duva in Main Events, his promoter, have been nothing but loyal to HBO. There was a time where there was going to do a purse bid between Kovalev and Adonis Stevenson. And then Main Events requested the purse bid. But then when they thought that it's possible that Al Heyman's side who represents Adonis Stevenson, could win the purse bid and put and stage the fight on their network, they pulled out of the purse bid, even though they requested it. They did that because they were being loyal to HBO. And they didn't want a mega fight with Kovalev and Adonis Stevenson to land up on the other side of the pond. But now in hindsight, you look at it, Kovalev loses to Eleider Alvarez, and now HBO's not even really fucking with you. So Kovalev Alvarez 2 might be on fucking Facebook Watch or something. On Instagram TV. You know what I mean? And you just had Main Events being loyal to HBO, and they didn't want to lose a purse bid. They wanted from what they said, they wanted the Kovalev Adonis Stevenson fight at the time, and they didn't want to risk the fight landing on Showtime, so they pulled out of the purse bid. That's why you got to make these decisions that benefit you and you only, because these networks make the hard, tough decisions. Like, oh, we're not picking. Okay, that guy is cool. He's a warrior, but he keeps losing. We're gonna focus on this guy that's Jaime Munguia, he's winning still. So we'll give him the airtime. But Kovalev, he lost twice to Ward, and now he lost again. So, we don't have to air his next fight, especially if there's a chance that the guy who would probably be favored to win, the Eleider Alvarez, wins and then goes back to his network, Showtime. We good off that. We already lost on Kovalev. He already got upset, and then Alvarez is free to go. So if they do the rematch clause, they're going to have to find another home. You know what I mean? I don't know what HBO's doing right now in terms of boxing. And they also did this to Bob Arum. Bob Arum provided a lot of great fights to HBO after Mayweather left. In fact, he was providing some of the biggest fights or continual fights. Golden Boy had some, like when they had Canelo versus Kirkland, or, Canelo Triple G pay-per-views and stuff like that. But regularly, Top Rank was providing great fights for HBO. And then they were promoting Ward Kovalev. Top Rank, they had the fight with Pacquiao and Jesse Vargas, and HBO was like, no, we already got our own pay-per-view. You're going to have to find out your own home. We're not buying Pacquiao versus Vargas. We don't care about that fight. And that pissed Bob Arum off. Next thing you know, he's like, okay. And he does a Top Rank pay-per-view, figures it out, but he remembers that meeting and those meetings that he has. And ever since that moment, he's not really been speaking highly of HBO. And then he pulled all of his fighters, his whole stable, off of HBO Boxing. And now they signed a deal, and then they just re-upped and extended the deal, I think, to 7 years with ESPN. So Top Rank is done on HBO because they're in contract with ESPN. And they got old Top Rank fighters like Tim Bradley fighting on the network. ESPN also got Andre Ward doing commentary. Or not fighting on the network. Tim Bradley's doing commentary on the network. Ward has got a commentator gig on the network. You know what I mean? So it's looking rough for HBO. And it's all because of decision making. So I don't know who's pulling strings over there, but they're making some terrible decisions. You pissed Bob Arum off, he pulled the plug. Now he got guys like Terrence Crawford, Teofimo Lopez, Michaela Meyer, Terrence Crawford, Vasily Lomachenko, right? Shakur Stevenson, Mick Connell. He got all these talent, and they're not even going to be on HBO. Jose Benavidez, And then now they turn their back on Kovalev. Crazy. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.